sufficient effort, or is that not a sufficient effort?
Mr. Henderson, we'll let him answer that question, but I'm worried about the 15 minutes, so if you could hold your questions till later, I'd appreciate it. You can respond, but then...
Never get asked.
Well, that didn't apply directly to us. Of course, the Dodge report and the various journals and whatnot are applicable across the board to any contractor. But when you're trying to appeal to minority contractors, there has to be a special effort, we feel. And the communication has to be more direct. The president of Black Contractors Association will be addressing this body very shortly, and he could more appropriately respond to that particular question.
Thank you.
Abdur-Rahim Hamid. I'm president of the Black Contractors Association of San Diego, Inc. We're here in support of the city manager's report to suspend all bids. This is a milestone for us. It is part of the aggravations, as I would like to piggyback on my colleague, that MBEs have.
Elaine Brooks was not able to stay, and she asked that I address you. I also filled out a speaker's slip. My name is Rosalind Winstead. Thank you. I would like to, on behalf of the Communities United for Economic Justice, address this particular issue as well. We are very much concerned about the climate of opportunity in this city for minority entrepreneurs, women-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses. And we think that this is a critically important issue to the economic survival of minority and women-owned businesses.
What we're saying is that to the union hiring halls and to the contractors themselves, that they cannot no longer hide behind minorities as one race or one gender and say that they have done their job.
Advocates of diversity in the contracting industry will tell you they don't have a level playing field, even with federal guidelines that look out for their interests. Lawmakers who have gone to bat for them say the Abdur-Rahim case will restore old patterns of bias if upheld by the Supreme Court.
It is unfounded suit, but it's also an attack upon just persons who, in most cases, are African Americans and Hispanic.
Today, as work continued on a $5.5 million school project, protesters got fighting mad and brought construction to a halt.
You ain't gonna give us no jobs. Nobody gets jobs. You gotta get out of this community, man. You don't live here, and you ain't gonna give us no money here. Get out of our community. We don't want you here. Get out of here.
That's for employment at the Navy's Choya housing project.
The contractors and the subcontractors on this project say that African American and people of color have not expressed an interest to work. Well, your presence today demonstrates that you're interested in work.
Many whites think blacks are getting more than their fair share in terms of jobs and promotions. That is not true. That is not true.
Abdur-Rahim Hamid of the Black Contractors Association is a vocal and eloquent supporter of the City of San Diego's Equal Employment Opportunity Ordinance.
Something needs to be done to make sure they can get contracts with the city. The contractors met today to discuss what to do. The city hasn't had an affirmative action program since it was struck down by a federal judge back in 1993. The Black Contractors Executive Vice President Abdur-Rahim Hamid says right now the situation is not good.
The city's program, because of the enjoyment, does not allow or suggest that there should be aggressive outreach, and the numbers falling from 27 down to less than 2.8% is a clear statement of that.
City Manager Jack McGrory says one solution is breaking up the big projects.
Open it up for San Diego firms to compete, so the contract dollars are staying here in San Diego and not.
McGrory says the city has already begun awarding contracts under the new method.
If you're driving through the country on a lazy afternoon, you're watching your children playing after school.
This is News 8 at 11.
African American contractors across San Diego are reaching out to help their own. Following the passage of Prop 209, minority organizations say they've been forced to come up with creative ways to promote minorities. The Black Contractors Association has now created a program to train and place unskilled workers.
This is the remedy for post-209. It's a self-help approach. It's not a hand-me-out. It's not a special treatment program, preferential treatment. It's a program where individuals and citizens from San Diego can get a leg up into construction and prove themselves.
The organization says it's aiming to provide a resource where contractors can find specially trained workers to help them complete their project.
To take back their neighborhood, specifically the jobs in their neighborhood. It's about a big construction project going up in Encanto. News 8's Carol Hassan has tonight's in-depth report.
This is the sound of music playing in the San Diego economy. What makes it even sweeter is that this music plays in a part of town that doesn't always get the break.
This job is in the neighborhood, you know, paid off.
This job is a 60-unit senior housing complex on the corner of Imperial and 60th. Construction is $4 million. The money comes from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. It is owned by St. Stephen's Church next door.
I'm glad to be working again instead of sitting at home.
80% of the project is run by black contractors who are very glad because they had to fight for the work here in their own community.
These opportunities come few and far apart, and it's an opportunity for a small contractor to cut his teeth into a major portion of the construction industry.
Members of the Black Contractors Association stood on this corner a few months ago to rally the bishop for the work. The Nielsen Construction Company opened the door.
For 22 years, especially tough, very tough. But I kind of see things easing up a little bit now.
So up here on this roof, they're actually trying to buck two things, the dragging economy and the question of discrimination.
To me, we're all the same. Like, I do the firing and hiring, whites or blacks or Mexicans. That is the same to me. So